So today we are talking about happiness. Are you happy? That's what we're talking about. And the dictionary, the New Oxford Dictionary, says that they define happy as a feeling of pleasure or contentment. So that's what the word that people normally use when they're talking about happiness. People rarely say happy, right? They say comfortable or content. So we're trying to figure out, how do we get to being able to say happy? So it was a scene on Sex and the City where I think it was Charlotte and Miranda having a conversation about happiness. It might have been all the girls, I don't remember, but I know for sure they were asking Charlotte if she was happy. And her response has stuck with me over the years. She said, I'm happy every day. I'm not necessarily happy every minute of every day, but I'm happy every day. So that means that she had got her life to a point where she could say, I'm happy every day. She had her children, she had her husband, she had her health, and she was happy. How this came up, how this topic even came about was because I had a friend who recently called me and said that I'm happy. I'm the happiest I have been in a very long time. And I am ashamed to tell anyone other than you. And I could relate to it because I knew where she was. I know where she is. I know exactly where she is in life right now. She's in the midst of a huge transition after closing a big business and a big part of her life, which was her business. And she feels this relief, right? And it's hard to tell somebody to just go around saying you're happy to people who seem miserable, because people typically glorify being miserable, right? Like, it's a big deal to be to feel shackled or to feel like things aren't going right. People like hold that with a badge of honor for some reason, right? So I understood what she meant, because many years ago, when I made a huge transition and closed down my business and moved on to a new business and a new phase of life, I was so happy because it was a relief. I had a relief off me after years and years of fighting to make something work that wasn't necessarily working for me. It was working for the people that I was servicing, but not necessarily for me. And I was so happy. And it was hard to talk about that to people because people look at you like, why are you happy? You don't work nowhere. Why? How could you be happy and you don't know where you're headed? Well, maybe that's why I'm happy. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'm happy because I know that wherever I'm going, I'm not going there with this huge weight on my back anymore. So I just was able to understand that. And I wanted to see like just how many people really say they're happy every day, especially where I come from. I come from the hood, west side of Chicago. I currently live on the south side of Chicago, and I don't necessarily see happiness every day when I'm looking around, when I'm riding to my home, or when I'm going to the local store or whatever. I don't necessarily see happiness in everybody. I see it in some people. Some people seem to be very joyous, but I don't see it in everybody. Yeah, people use the words comfortable. You say, are you happy? And people say, I'm comfortable. I'm content. I'm satisfied. So I was just wondering. I think that happiness comes from, I think it comes from your overall situation. So you may not be happy with your overall situation, but you might be happy with parts of it. So I may not be happy with my overall situation, but I'm happy with the fact that I can make something happen in that situation because what? I'm breathing, I'm walking, I have all of my senses, I'm sane. So I'm happy about that because with those things, I'm able to move and progress and make whatever my overall situation is better. That makes me happy. So I think that people should view and maybe make their happiness or try to create happiness for themselves based on the things that they do have, right? We shouldn't be always focusing on what we don't have. We need to be happy and grateful. We need to be grateful for what we do have, and that should essentially make us happy. Let's see. I'm working on not saying but until I don't. I did. Do you guys, so I'm here right now with my girls, my producers, and I wanted to know, how do they feel about happiness? I had one other thing before I got to you girls. I wanted to say, I think that happiness has a lot to do with our conscience too, right? If you have a clear conscience, you could be happy. If you haven't lied about something, cheated about something, stole something, if you're doing what you're supposed to do and moving about life in an integral way, you should be happy about that because there's a lot of people not doing that. Hence, I won't even get into PPP loans and such. But anyway, I'm joking. But what do you guys have any thoughts about happiness? Do you feel happy, Nyla?
Overall, yes, but like I tend to let outside sources determine my happiness at that time. So if I'm having a great day and then one person throw it off, I allow that to happen, which is something I have to work on. Which leads me to my question.
Okay.
Can I ask, how do you deal with not letting outside sources like mess up
your happiness?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that how we do that is so you have tools, right? You have, and when I say that, it's like a mental toolbox, a conscious toolbox. You can tell when someone's gaslighting you or when someone is trying to trigger you, right? You can also tell when a person is just not a happy person. So you go into a store and the store is crowded, or maybe it's not crowded, but whatever. You go in the aisle and someone bumps you, or you bump someone. Excuse me, ma'am, sir. And they immediately get on the defensive as if you have knocked them down and started stomping them. You can clearly tell that that person is not in a happy space. So what you need to do is realize that, right? Instead of reacting to how they're reacting, realize the situation at hand. I didn't hurt anybody. It was a simple bump. So I'm moving on. Again, I apologize, sir. Have a good day. And keep walking. Don't let that affect the rest of your trip to the store, right? Or if you're having a great day at school or you're having a great day wherever, and then you feel like the world is crashing down on you for small stuff, right? Somebody's coming down on you for something that's small, what you feel is small. Well, think about that person, right? Is that person, whether it be your friend, family member, whomever, are they a complainer by nature? Did something else trigger them, and now it's trickling down to you? And I'm not saying that you should have to deal with that, but what I'm saying is know how to identify. Am I the issue, or did this person have an issue before they even ever ran into me? That's what I think. That's how you can use your tools to say that this don't even got nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? And then when it does have something to do with you, how you maintain your happiness is being, again, integral and stepping up, right? You make a mistake, admit to your mistake, correct your mistake, apologize for your mistake, and then nobody can hold anything over your head because you did everything you were supposed to do as it pertains to that particular situation. When you make mistakes, when you do something wrong, correct it, apologize for it, and then you can. I take pride in correcting my errors. Me personally, right? When I make a mistake and I realize I've made a mistake, it's been brought to my attention, or I realize it on my own, that makes me happy to be able to say, you know what? Oh, I did mess that up. Or you're right. I should have done whatever. I apologize for that. I especially take immense pride in correcting myself with my children, because people don't typically correct themselves with their children, right? We don't come from that culture. We come from a culture of, when you make a mistake, they take you to McDonald's. When they've made a mistake, they try to correct it with, fixing you your favorite dessert, or you're making you a sandwich or something like that. They never say, our parents just didn't come from a generation of apologizing for a mistake. So I take pride in that, because I know that that's helping someone else's confidence and self-esteem when I correct myself. So, of course, I especially do that with my children and my granddaughter. Use your toolbox. Pay attention to the people, and then pay attention to yourself. Check yourself so that you can, you can tell when that's a them thing. That has nothing to do with me. So I'm not about to ruin my day because you're mad or because whatever's happening in your life. A lot of times you won't even know what's going on, but you can clearly tell that it has nothing to do with you. And you just have to remember that. What about you?
So I guess for mine is, I say that I do let my happiness depend on other people, but in a different way than.
What about you?
So I guess for mine is, I say that I do let my happiness depend on other people, but in a different way than Nyla. For me, it's for me, when it comes to letting my happiness depend on other people, I feel like I can't be happy unless I'm with other people. Sometimes when I'm not hanging out with people or I'm not talking to somebody, I just feel like it just feels like, I don't know. I don't feel
Keep going. I don't know where the other mic is, and I'm looking for the other mic, guys. Sorry. Keep going.
I wouldn't say empty, but it just feels like I don't feel happiness unless I'm doing something else, with other people, when I'm on the phone with somebody, or when I'm just hanging out with people. So a lot of the time, I feel like when I'm by myself, it just doesn't feel like
you don't feel happy.
No.
Okay, so that sounds like, and I'm far from a therapist, but that just sounds like you're a person that likes to be around people. You like to be talking to people. You might need a podcast, right? Go ahead.
What I mean by not happy is
you're not sad.
That's what I'm trying to say. Sometimes when I'm not talking to other people, I just feel I do feel sad sometimes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, And so I'll like dwell on it too. Like be like, dang, I should have enjoyed it more when I was with other people. And I just like, it just doesn't feel. It just doesn't feel right. It feels weird. It makes me feel weird when I'm not with other people.
So I think that you should embrace that, right? Because it might take a while for you to be where, because when you get to my age, being alone is fun, right? The older you get, the more you enjoy being by yourself. You know what I mean? So right now, I can remember when I was younger and I wanted to be around my friends all the time. And I wanted to be talking all the time. And I'm like that in a lot of ways now, but I definitely enjoy my time alone. So
actually, I just had this conversation with my parents. We were like, because my mom, she doesn't really like talking to people as much. Like, but she was saying that it's because when she was younger, she lived in a house with a lot of people.
That's right.
So once you get older and you finally get out of that, it just becomes tiring being with a lot of people. So they said that they think that I like being with a lot of people because I don't have anyone like...
You don't have a house full of people all day, every day.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of people around me. So I find that like comfort in other people.
Yeah, and that sounds right. And you have to think about it with your mom's work, especially with what she said about her childhood. And then with the work that she does, she's around people, talking to people all day, every day, right? So when she comes home, she wants to decompress. Whereas your father is a straight people person, right? It's no way that he's going to go. I can't imagine your father going 48 hours without talking to somebody about something. He's gonna be somewhere trying to make a change. He's gonna be somewhere talking about something, making a point about something. Whereas your mother, she's the opposite, because she has had that, like she said, her entire life. What she's been around. Look at all the sisters and then her brother she has.
I feel like both of them are the two different, like a product of the same thing, but in the opposite. Like my dad wants to be around a lot of people because that's what he's comfortable with. Because he's been around a lot of people. Like he lived with all of his cousins and all of his family all his life. And my mom is like, hasn't been with a lot of people. So she's been with a lot of people all her life. So she kind of wants to get away from that.
Yeah. I mean, and then your mom, your mother is just different too, in the sense of where she enjoyed her youth different. Not even different. She enjoyed it the way she should have, but she was around people often from a very young age. And then now she's around people a lot for work. So when she comes home, she enjoys quiet. You heard her say for her birthday, she's like, I'm done with parties. I'm doing dinners now. You heard her say that this year, right? So, yeah. Well, how about you, Nyla? You have anything else you want to say about happiness? Any other questions?
No.
No? No. But you would say that you both, Takia, you say that you feel happiest with people. Nyla, that's not you. Nyla feels, Nyla like, oh, I can talk about this.
Yeah. So I can give an example. A little while ago, one of my friends, she basically said she no longer wanted to be friends with me because I'm not the type of person that wants to talk all the time. Like, she would try to talk to me and I wouldn't talk back. Like, I would respond, but I guess since I wasn't engaging in the conversation either, because like with my...
Is this in person or via text over the phone? Okay.
So if my social media is off, like if I don't always feel like talking to people, 9 times out of 10, I don't feel like talking to people. Takia, can you
Would you
attest
say-
to this?
Would you say 9 times out of 10 or 8 or 7 times out of 10?
Actually, I don't really get this side of Nyla because if I'm with Nyla, I'm gonna talk to Nyla. It's really
I don't always respond though.
I'm going to make sure she responds. Like, I'm the type of person that if you're not talking to me, I'm going to keep talking to you. It's really just not that.
It's Nyla's social situation.
Yeah.
That it depends on the social situation with you.
But
Yeah.
Like yesterday, homecoming. I'm pretty sure you were a social butterfly.
Yeah.
That's different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not going to be. You wanted to go to homecoming, so it's not going to be like people who. That's why I say it can't be 9 times out of 10. It's probably more like 7 times out of 10, 7 to 8, right? And I think it's based on the social situation. Your friend is probably trying to talk to you when you first get to school after you've been rushing trying to get to school.
It was actually last period, gym class.
I was about to say, or it could have been midday, or it could have been like once the day is over, like all that stuff. Sometimes people don't want to talk when they first wake up. Some people don't want to talk after lunch because they can't believe they still got the rest of the day to go. Some people don't want to talk, like you said, last period, you don't like gym. You're in gym, the day is over. So you probably just need like a minute, you know what I'm saying? And so you have to learn how to express that, right? You have to learn how to express your boundaries. And I talked about this last week on the podcast, establishing boundaries with our friends and family so that everybody can be at peace with one another.
Also, I'd like to say another thing. So how Nyla brought up that sometimes she won't be engaging in things like that. I've blocked 5 people in a week span because they acted like that. I actually get so angry.
Because they don't engage?
Yes, when people answer or respond to something I say, I'm the type of person text in all caps every single time and things like that. And then I'll get responses okay, or that's crazy.
And you want full you want people to be on when you're talking. Mm-hmm.
And because I want the energy that I give other people.
Mm-hmm.
People just aren't willing to give back the same energy.
But how do you know that they're not in the middle of something and they're just responding to you so that they can give you a response? They want to be engaging. What if they're talking to their mom or dad?
I understand that, but when it's constant, or when I'm if we're talking on
you're going back
basis,
and forth,
and all of your responses are okay, I no.
You're not feeling that.
No.
Doesn't make you happy.
No, it does not. And also sometimes I do understand wanting to be I'm not really up to talk right now. And I do feel like that sometimes, but even when I feel like that, I don't just I feel like sometimes I do push myself to be always on 10 because I want that from other
guys. Did you know that I have an extreme love for TV and movies? I'm also a huge fan of audiobooks, podcasts, and music. Soon, I'll have bonus episodes where I give my thoughts on media of all kinds, as well as talking to my friends about pop culture and trending topics. Don't forget to tune in to the Babbling Breakdown. Now, let's get back to the show. So, Brandon, everybody, my son has entered the chat right now. So we were having a discussion prior to Brandon coming in, and we were talking about happiness. And so, I should introduce. This is my oldest son, Brandon. Say hi, Brandon.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, make sure that you're talking because the people who not watching, they only getting audio.
Oh, okay.
So we got to make sure that we constantly saying something that we're constantly using words so that they don't think that something wrong with their phone or whatever.
Okay.
So we were having a discussion about happiness before you came in, And what I was saying was, people rarely say that they're happy. People might use the word content. They might use the word they're okay, satisfied, comfortable, but rarely do they say, I'm happy. So what I was telling them was about a scene in a movie, Sex and the City. You know, Sex and the City, I love that. It's a movie, a part in Sex and the City where the lady said, when she was asked, was she happy every day? She said, yes, I'm happy every day. I'm not happy every moment of every day, but I'm happy every day.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So I said, well, what makes people be unhappy? And so I went on to say that I believe that it had much to do with clear conscience, right? Mm-hmm. You become unhappy when you lying, cheating, and stealing. When you're out doing things that you shouldn't be doing. Rarely are you happy. Nyla pointed out that our surroundings can cause us to be unhappy. The people who surround us can sometimes make us unhappy. And she was trying to figure out, well, how do you control that? How do you control what somebody else is doing to keep you from being unhappy? So what I wanted to know from you was, do you feel like you're one other thing I said was, I said sometimes our overall situation, we may not be happy with our overall situation, but we can be happy with certain parts of the situation, certain parts of our situation, because we have what? So I may not like my entire situation.
Comfortability.
Yeah, but I'm happy with the fact that I can walk, I can talk, I can think, so I can make my overall situation better, which makes me happy, right? Because that's up to me. So what I wanted to ask you was, do you consider yourself to be happy?
Every day?
I mean, whenever. Okay.
I'm going to say this.
Don't put your hands in front of you.
I'm going to say, since I started working out every day, it ain't too much that throw me off
from your happiness.
From my happiness.
That's good.
So I can honestly say that working out every day, since I've started working out every day, it's not too much that can really make me mad.
And why is that?
I think because I get everything, I go in there with attitude like I'm getting something out.
Right. Yeah, it's an accomplishment.
Yeah, so every day I leave, I'm like,
I'm
getting
getting even more done.
Yeah, I can get better. So I think that's what it is for me.
Okay. So the rest of the day is
peaches and cream.
Right, because you made that happen.
Yeah.
And because you're dedicated to it, if you don't make it in the morning, you know you're going at night.
I'm going to get it in. I got to get it in.
So because of that, it makes you happy. So it's like somebody could be saying something or have done something and it's like,
I lost my wallet 2 days ago and I ain't even mad.
Right. You like, it's okay.
I lock my car.
Yeah. So that's good. That's a good way to look at things. I was saying to them that that sometimes because where we come from, you don't see a lot of happiness where we come from.
Sure.
Right? So it's like sometimes you can find people who are immensely elated and happy with where they are and the way they living. Good, regardless of what I think it is, right?
Yep.
Good or bad.
Yep.
But then you have some people that are completely dissatisfied and can't stand their situation or where they are, and they are unhappy. And I see a lot of unhappiness, a lot of pain when I'm driving to get home, or when I'm driving on certain parts of town where I'm from. So, what's your observation on that? Would you agree or
that it's a lot of unhappiness?
Yeah,
I for sure think it's a lot of unhappiness, but I think also we don't address it. We just become content with it. So it becomes the new normal. So it's not necessarily.
They don't think it's something they
bad.
can fix.
It's not as bad because it's normal. So it's like they probably would say something like a terrorist did something or something that's bad, but stuff that we see in the neighborhood regularly that probably would be
horrible or something else.
Yeah, it wouldn't. We wouldn't bat an eye at it.
Right. They move forward with their days and evenings as if.
So it's like an easy way to dismiss something, so you won't have to have feelings for it.
Okay, so that's I guess we wrapping up happiness. So that's what we wanted to talk about, happiness. I wanted to discuss happiness, how we get there, how we can remain there, if we're even happy. Yeah, sometimes
you can be pushed to find something.
To find the happiness. Yeah. It's so many different things. Like I was telling them, I said, I take pride in like if I make a mistake, I take pride in the fact that I can say I made that mistake and correct it and apologize for it and move forward. That makes me happy to be able to do that.
That's growth.
Yeah, because that part of maturity, and I said that I especially appreciate that I can do that, and it makes me happy that I can do that with my children, because I don't come from that, right? I come from where even if my mother or my grandmother was wrong, they weren't going to apologize. You know, they would take me to McDonald's
and that's what I mean when I say when you get things that become normal, it don't seem as bad.
Mm-hmm.
So you used to it. It don't seem like it's a big deal. But then you would see somebody else get apologized to, or you like that.
Yeah, like that's a big deal. Like I bet that made them feel so much better to get that. Or even if someone does it to you, right? You correct someone or you show someone where they may have been wrong, and instead of them combating you, they embrace the error, correct the error, apologize for the error. That's
how it talks.
Yeah.
With a problem solving mind instead of I'm aggressive.
I want to be right.
Yeah.
So that's it. We're wrapping up happy. I'm pretty sure we'll address it again because that's a part of self-improvement, self-development. But I want to thank you guys so much for chiming in with me. My producers did some chiming in, and my son came and chatted with me. So we had pretty much a 3-part episode right here. This should be a banger. Thank you guys so much for babbling with Brandi. See you next time. Bye.